Today, President Trump will give personal remarks to memorialize the loss of his friend and political ally, Charlie Kirk, at what is expected to be a huge memorial service in Arizona. But Kirk's assassination has roiled the MAGA movement and kicked off a presidential crackdown on Trump's critics and political foes. The word unprecedented gets thrown around a lot these days. But last night, the president took an extraordinary step. He publicly urged his Attorney General, Pam Bondi, to go after his political adversaries. We're talking about New York Attorney General Letitia James, Senator Adam Schiff, and James Comey. He called them, quote, guilty as hell, and he complained, quote, we can't delay any longer. It's a retribution campaign the president has previewed for years. Here with me now is the Senate Democratic leader, Chuck Schumer. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to start there. You are the top ranking Democrat in the U.S. Senate. What is your reaction to the president's new pressuring of his top Justice Department official, and what can you do about it?
I think it's a real threat to democracy, Dana. You know, the Justice Department has always been a very, very strong civil service, no matter who was in charge, a Democrat or Republican. They went after law violators without fear or favor. What Trump is doing is he's turning it. He's firing anybody who doesn't seem to be part of his acolytes. And he's turning it into an instrument that goes after his enemies, whether they're guilty or not, and most of them are not guilty at all, and that helps his friends. This is the path to a dictatorship. That's what dictatorships do. It is so very, very frightening and damaging to our republic.
You heard the president over and over on the campaign trail saying that he was going to do just this, that he was going to investigate his political enemies, and he won the election. So it's certainly not surprising. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say he didn't run on. He ran on many other issues.
He did, but he was very clear about this.
Overwhelming.
And people chose to vote for him on other issues, perhaps, but they were aware of this.
Well, whether, you know, this is our rule of law. This is fundamental to our democracy, and we cannot let it stand. And my belief is Democrats, Republicans, and independents, everybody will object to this because it's so against what our democracy is all about.
Is there anything that you can do? Obviously, you are not in power in the Senate or in the House.
Yeah, well, we're going to fight strongly as we can in every way. There are going to be legal ways to fight this. We will try to find legislative ways to fight this, but also the American people should let their representatives know how terrible this is to democracy. And we've seen conservatives speak out against this too, and we need our Republican colleagues more than ever to speak out against this violation of the fundamentals of democracy.
I want to talk about government funding. It is set to expire in 9 days.
Okay,
you
sure.
and your fellow Democrats are pushing to add health care subsidies to the funding bill. You're under a lot of pressure, I don't need to tell you, from the base of your party to fight Republicans on something, even if it means, in this case, shutting down the government. Is that what's going to happen?
Look, it's the Republicans shutting down the government. First, these issues are very important to the American people. Healthcare was decimated. People are losing their health care. Hospitals are closing. People are losing their jobs. It's outrageous, and the American people can't stand it. But what we are asking very simply is what has always been done in these kinds of budget negotiations, a bipartisan negotiation. The Republican bill is a totally partisan bill with zero input from Democrats, and that's not how to get things done. We had two bills on the floor Friday. Both failed, the Democratic bill and the Republican bill. And that's because there has been no negotiation with the Republicans. There always used to be. When I was majority leader, for 4 years we didn't have a shutdown because we sat down with Republicans. So Hakeem Jeffries and I have now demanded to sit down with Donald Trump because that's the only way to avoid a Trump shutdown. The Republican leadership is listening to Trump and not talking to us.
The president has said he'd love to meet with you. Is it going to happen?
We're ready to meet with him any time and place to negotiate and avoid the Trump shutdown. Right now, it's a Trump shutdown because he won't even talk to us. He won't even consider what the American people want, is lowering costs. They don't like his tariffs. They don't like the health care stuff. And when you sit down and say it's my way or the highway, you're creating a shutdown. This is a Trump shutdown unless he sits down and negotiates with us.
If nothing changes, negotiation or not, there will be a vote on the day of the deadline, a week from Tuesday. If nothing changes, are you going to vote no and urge your Democratic colleagues to vote no, which will end with the shutdown?
Look, we hope it doesn't come to that.
But what if it does?
Because everyone knows the American people are on our side, Dana. By almost 2-1, they believe if there's a shutdown, it's going to be caused by Trump, because they know how much they want relief in the health care issue, and they know he's not negotiating. So it's up to them, and I hope and pray that Trump will sit down with us and negotiate a bipartisan bill. That's how it's always been done in the past. That's how shutdowns have been avoided in the past.
And if he doesn't, I'm just confirming here, you will vote no. Is that correct?
We are hoping, Dana, that he will negotiate with us.
And if he
so
doesn't?
far he hasn't, and we've had 2 bills in the House and Senate, and neither of them have passed. Our Democrats are firm. We need to get something done to relieve the distress the American people are in.
Okay, that sounded like a yes, but you can confirm that, and then I want to move on. Is that accurate?
Yeah. The bottom line is we must
Okay.
get a better bill than what they have, plain and simple.
The last time Congress was up against a funding deadline, about 6 months ago, you voted with Republicans to keep the government open. I want to play what you said on the Senate floor at that time, calling it a Hobson's choice.
Either proceed with the bill before us or risk Donald Trump throwing America into the chaos of a shutdown. This, in my view, is no choice at all. While the CR bill is very bad, the potential for a shutdown has consequences for America that are much, much worse.
Mr. Leader, do you no longer believe what you said 6 months ago there?
Things have changed, Dana, in 3 ways. First, since March, when that happened, the American people have seen how terrible the Trump administration policies are. Their costs are going up because of tariffs, because of electric bills, and most of all, because of the decimation of health care. Second, we have seen what they're doing. They're illegally violating any appropriations bills, any spending bills we've done by their rescissions, their pocket rescissions, and things like that. And so they're doing it illegally anyway, whether we had an agreement or not. And third, Democrats are united. We all agree that we cannot allow the present situation, the status quo, to continue when the American people are demanding change. So for the last 6 months, we've been united on the so-called big, beautiful bill. Every single Democrat voted against it. So the situation is a lot different now than it was then.
And you do have a Democratic base that is desperate for you to fight in any way, shape, or form. Is that also a factor here? You're listening to your voters?
In all due respect, Dana, it's not just the Democratic base, it's the American people. Go talk to people in rural areas, Republicans, whose hospitals are closing. Go talk to people, middle-class folks, who may have voted Republican, whose parents are going to be kicked out of their nursing homes and they don't know what to do with them. This is a demand from the American people, period, across the board. And there's lots of independents. When you ask people, do you like what they have done in the the big, beautiful bill? It's 2-1 against it. Not only every Democrat, but 2/3 to 3/4 of the independents and 30% of the Republicans. So it's the American people demanding change.
Senator, you said earlier this week that Democrats, quote, have a damn good chance of winning back the Senate in the 2026 midterms. A CNN poll from this summer found only 28% of Democrats, these are your fellow Democrats, view your party favorably. How can you be so confident when you see numbers like that?
First, because of what Donald Trump is doing to America. It's amazing how bad it is. And when you ask people in similar polls, do you prefer a Democratic candidate or Republican candidate? It's 47 Democrat, 39 Republican. We have to do more to build up a strong platform as to what we will do. And Hakeem Jeffries and I, House and Senate, are working on that. But they hate what Trump is doing to them, and they prefer Democratic candidates. In addition, we've had some great recruiting. It's amazing the candidates who have stepped forward. And I'll tell you something nice, Dana, about this. You know why they're stepping forward? They worry about the future of the country. They worry about their children and grandchildren at the way this administration is heading America into decline. And so we've had great candidates. People are angry with what Trump's doing, and we're in a much better chance today than we were 6 months ago of taking back the Senate. I'm optimistic.
Okay. Before I let you go, speaking of candidates, you've been asked numerous times if you will endorse Zohran Mamdani for New York City mayor. You always say you're going to continue to talk. There are two key questions here that you haven't answered. One is, will you ever endorse him? And two, what do you need from him to get your endorsement?
Okay. Well, first of all, you know, I know him. We've had a good relationship in the past, and we had a good meeting 2 weeks ago, a very long meeting with a lot of serious questions. And all I can tell you is I'm going to continue talking to him.
What's the holdup?
I got to continue talking to him, and that's what I'm going to do.
Is part of the calculus that if you endorse a Democratic Socialist, you're worried it will be damaging to your party, maybe even your chances of winning back the Senate?
I'm going to continue talking to him. Dana, you can ask me again.
All right. Had to try, Senator. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on this morning. Nice to see you.
Hey, Dana, and a happy Rosh Hashanah to you.
Thank you. You
My
too.
wife has just cooked. She's just cooked a 5-generation brisket recipe, and the kitchen smells great.
All right. Well, we can have a brisket off next time I see you. Thank you.